You're not going to use it?
We'll get started here. Place your phones on silent or in the off mode so they don't disturb the conference. I'll hold your questions to the end, and Chief of Reviews will cover everything, okay? So maybe your phones are on.
Are you all this morning? Okay, let me start with this. Thank you all for coming. I know that there's a lot of information, probably questions on your part that you want answered. We'll try to answer them as best as we can today. But essentially, this morning what we have is this. About shortly before 7 o'clock this morning, Officer Jesus Mora, one of our officers, he's a 9-year officer with us, was conducting an inquiry. That is an investigation into what appeared to be a suspicious vehicle in the area of McAllen Road, just south of Orangewood Street. Okay, it is an area that is developing, got new roads in there, sparsely at this point in time populated, so to speak, from a standpoint of development. But it is just south of a very highly developed area in McAllen. As he approached the vehicle, the officer reports that one suspect reached out the driver's side window with a handgun in his hand and took a shot at the officer, then sped away from the scene. The officer suffered one gunshot to his upper left shoulder and was able to return fire. In our estimation, shooting at the suspect between 2 and 3 times, according to the information that the officer is reporting to us right now. The officer has been treated and released. There were no major, wounding on account of his gunshot. In other words, his gunshot would at this point in time be described as striking flesh only. He was treated at the McAllen Hospital and released, and obviously is cooperating with, at this point, is a criminal investigation. The only descriptors we have at this point in time is a dark colored minivan, older model, perhaps blue or faded black in that grayish zone. We are trying to develop composites of what the vehicle might look like, and if we can do that, we will try to release that to you later today. Beyond that, the vehicle descriptors, we have baby dark rims on it, but no other information at this point in time. We don't know if there were other persons in the van at this point in time, but there was at least, and we are at this point looking at least for one suspect in this particular incident. Generally, that is the essence of the incident at this point in time. We have had very kind responses from obviously you in terms of the media inquiries and trying to get the information out. We appreciate that very much. We will try, if we have more, we will put it out to you at this point in time. But yours is the only way we can get information out, but this is what we have at this point. Other law enforcement agencies, both state agencies and even federal agencies have risen to the occasion. They've called us, contacted us, and have made all the resources available to the investigation. So we appreciate that as well. With that said, I'll take your questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, could you repeat the officer's name, please, or approximately the approximate time on the job?
Our officer's name, his name is Jesus Mora. Last name is M-O-R-A in terms of his spelling. First name Jesus, and he's about a 9-year veteran with us.
And one more follow-up. I understand there's no dash cam in the incident. Probably protocol usually an officer sees a suspicious vehicle. Does he or she usually phone in the license plate before they get out of the vehicle?
Yes, there are no license plates on the van.
No license.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Do any of your vehicles have dash cam video?
Some do. Not all of our units have dash cams. And those are automatic, they're self-operated, so once you trigger lights or basically engage in a traffic stop, they automatically come on. This is one vehicle that does not have dash cam at this point.
Were there any other officers with, Officer Moore out there at the time, or was he responding by himself?
No, he was by himself. He was doing what we call solo. In other words, he's a single person patrol unit assigned.
Was
Yes.
he responding to a call?
No.
Or
He was just investigating what he saw, a vehicle parked on the side of the road in a suspicious manner. So he decided to undertake an investigation on his own. When approaching the vehicle on foot, that's when he saw one reach out the driver's side of the vehicle and take one shot at least at the officer, striking him in his left shoulder. This is what the officer reports to us as the information as we know it right now.
Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
this is around that same area where you guys had a homicide earlier this year around that M Street.
Yeah, it's south and west from there, yes.
Is this an area, where a lot of the type of, I don't know if it's, because that was a drug activity case. Is this an area where?
I wouldn't characterize any area like that, but it is on the fringes of the city limits of McAllen, so you get to where you're near the levee now, and basically the outer bounds of the city. So where this happened today, the other area is obviously a separate subdivision that is directly north and east from this particular location.
Chief, I'm sorry.
Let me just to be clear, not the same subdivision at all by any means. It's way, no, yes.
Do we know the caliber of the weapon that was used?
We don't know, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
When you get that call this morning from, your officers telling what happened, just kind of run down what you were thinking and what you started doing when you got that information. Because, just like us, I'm sure you're trying to gather all the information. What was the first thing that popped into your mind?
Well, there's a series of questions that go through someone in my position, examination process, and they're automatic. They're rapid fire. You don't, your adrenaline kicks in. You have no clue where you get it from when you get to those points. But obviously, when I get a call like this, like I was in the office this morning, so we have shots fired. It's okay. Well, first of all, who's firing who? Number one. Number two, is officer fired? Yes. Is he fired upon? Yes. Is he wounded? Yes. Is his status? Yes. Tell me more. Is he on the radio? Is he telling us anything? Yes, he's on the radio. He's talking. He's fine. So that takes you up and then down really quickly. But nonetheless, you're alarmed. But the immediate need, the hunger for determining the condition of your officer is what drives all the questions at the very beginning. And certainly when you start hearing that the officer is able to communicate, that the officer is doing this, then now you start settling at a certain point, elevated but certain point. Then it's a question, a matter of, okay, we're going to pull through this, okay, and how soon can we pull out of this?
Just about a week ago, we were at the training center, and you were training,
Can I take one quick?
Yeah, no.
I'm in the middle of a press. Bobby, you want to come with us? Hello? Hello? I'm sorry. Dealing with a lot of different things. Go ahead.
We were just at the training center about a week ago where you were talking
Yes.
about the training that went in.
Right.
Just right off the bat right now, how can you relate those things, those new training that we had to make a split-second decision today?
Absolutely. And we've customized some of the scenarios you have over there, and a lot of these are customized according to actual data sets that we have. So this certainly will go into as a future data set that once we get to the end of this, once we determine the outcome of this investigation and we know the entire data set, then it will serve us to prepare other officers based on actual experiences.
Steve?
Yes.
So the officer responded by firing 3 shots. You said, did he also try to pursue the vehicle, or was he instructed to stay and wait for, first responders to attend to him?
The officer responded several times. We don't know. I don't think I've said a total number of times, but he responded in kind, shooting at the suspect, returning fire at the suspect several times. We don't know if the suspect was struck or even that his vehicle was struck. We don't know that. But at this point in time, you've got other officers responding now, and so the officer is located at the scene and there he has been at the scene, or was at the scene through the time he was transported to the local hospital for treatment.
And Chief, this may sound silly, but I'm assuming he was in a marked vehicle. He made it clear that he was an officer.
Marked police vehicle, police uniform all the way through.
And Chief, I'm assuming he was wearing a bullet resistant, just one by the shoulder, that's there, it was a lucky shot, basically, that went into the area.
As we know it right now, there was no other shots that he was prone to take at that moment. And we know of one shot. That's what the officer is reporting to us at this point in time. And we account for that one shot to his upper left shoulder.
But was it an exposed area, or it didn't penetrate the vest?
No vest. No, it was, exposed from the vest, but not exposed from the shirt, but yes.
Okay, I'm just making clear he was wearing a vest, but when he was shot at the shoulder. was
Not
wearing-
vest covered
Not vest
area.
covered, okay.
Right.
Chief, when was the last time that you had an incident like this?
We had a couple of, we had a series of officer-involved shootings, not necessarily officers shot, but where officers were shot upon. It's been 7 or 8 years since we last done, but we have had fired at our officers, and I can recall 2 or 3, and it happened in a spurt. But it's been 6, 7 years ago since we had something like this. In those incidences, our officers were not wounded in any manner.
Have you had the opportunity to talk to the officer and, what's the first thing that you said to him once, you knew he was okay? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've spoken to him at the scene, and I've spoken to him since that time, since he's been released. And the first thing I want to make sure he knows is his family is aware, those bases are covered. I let him know that you all are doing your job in terms of trying to get the information out. And I let him know as part of this is that his name will be out, so he's aware of this. And so I prepared him to that extent so that in case, and that's the response we have, when you have a situation like we do right now, and that is we have a cognizant individual, in other words, he's speaking to us, he's relating to us, all of those things. It's a responsible thing to do to let him know that this information is going out, his name is going out, and so him and his family are prepared.
And Chief, did he say anything before he approached the vehicle? Did he radio in anything?
No, his first would be the typical checking a suspicious vehicle type call in, and then we hear the shots fired call after that.
Are you guys going to look at changing anything to where you guys maybe give more of a description before you make that initial contact?
Well,
is that even something that's up in the air?
Obviously, once we know the entire set of facts, all of the data facts, and those are always learning points for us. And we always try to learn from ours and everybody else's incidents as well. So, yes, at one point, once we know the entire set of data, the data points that we need to know, then if there are lessons there, we will.
The original incident that the officer pulled up to, I know we mentioned, hey, there was a suspicious vehicle. Were there other people around? I mean, were there witnesses? Do we know the possible motive behind what, sparked the initial shots?
No, other than isolated road, early in the morning hours, and what appeared to be an abandoned vehicle, those are the data points he's operating with to do his first inquiry. And from there, we have what we now are reporting to you, and what he's reporting to us, the officer's reporting to us. Yes, sir.
Your approximate time of the shooting and condition of the officer now?
The officer, it happened shortly after the morning. The initial approach was right about 7 o'clock this morning. The officer was treated, and he is released. He was released.
How many shots were fired at the officer? I know we said that several, we didn't name how many that he fired back, but how many shots were to
The officer reports that one shot was fired at him. That's what he reports to us.
Do you know how far away he was when he was fired at?
We've not estimated that yet.
Also, did he tell you what direction the vehicle fled?
Yes, the last known vehicle location was southbound on McAllen and going towards the southern extremities of the city of McAllen.
When you have an officer-involved shooting, you're always going to have some critics that are like, oh, why did the officer shoot? This officer was actually shot. Can you just talk a little bit about the process that an officer goes through when they're in a situation like that? He was using lethal force essentially. So can you talk a little bit about that? I know the training that you guys have been doing has kind of, spoken to that a little bit, but he did have to make a split-second decision today. Can you kind of just explain to the viewer, why he may have reacted in that way?
Mhm. Well, I mean, obviously, police officers like citizens, many of us will confuse, the authority by which we can use force against somebody, but in reality, the force that a citizen can use is the same force an officer can use to defend himself or another person when life is threatened. I mean, that's the law in this country. And it doesn't apply just to police officers, it applies to citizens as well. So in this case, there was threat, it was imminent, it was obvious to the officer, and he engaged that threat with gunfire. So he made a decision to use force in the face of deadly force against him. So that is, again, the information that we know at this point in time. Again, just to kind of cover this piece, we're authorized to use force when force against us threatens us, our life, or another person's life. And basically, that's the same law that applies to you as well.
What calls do you get to this area?
I couldn't tell you. It's a developing area. That is the fringes of the city is way out there. No, actually, we're just developing. It's a roadway, a new roadway out there. So
Chief,
yes.
this morning that roadway was closed off. Was that roadway closed off at the time?
Yes, because they're paving, they're basically building a road out there, yeah.
So that would make it even more weird that a car was out there.
Yes, and that's what drew the officer's attention. He's making his rounds through McAllen and Orangewood, but sees that the extended road includes a vehicle on the side of the road, so.
What's next now? What's happening right now?
Well, we do have a criminal, at the end of the day, this is a criminal investigation. The officer reports that somebody took a shot at him. So this will be recorded by us as an attempted capital murder case. Therefore, we are launching a criminal investigation into this matter.
What's to be said to whoever did this? Someone took a shot at one of your officers, and essentially, that officer could have lost its life. I mean, how serious as the chief are you taking this, and what do you want to say to whoever is responsible right now?
This is the most serious thing that anyone can do against, society. I mean, we operate in what we call a developed society in this country, and the one thing that protects us from insecurity, the one thing that protects us from peace, and the one thing that protects us from having a life that we like is that blue line, that police officers. We don't take lightly when that blue line is threatened. And when I say we, I mean us, principally in this case McAllen PD, but obviously so does the citizenry, and so does the law enforcement community. That blue line is not just McAllen PD. This morning we're taking calls from the director of DPS, from the sheriff, from our local federal agencies here in McAllen. All of these people rise to the occasion. This community, our community, and the community is not just police officers, the community is us, you and us together. We don't take these threats to the thing that keeps us safe, the thing and the reason that allow us to enjoy a country like we do today. We don't take those threats lightly.
I have another quick question. I know you said that attempted capital murder are the charges that he's possibly facing. I know we've heard of other instances where people, whether it's, amongst citizens where they've been shot, and it may be a superficial wound as well, but they're usually charged with aggravated assault. Is it different in this case because he's an officer?
Clearly, he was a uniformed officer, and we will allege that the intent was to kill an officer. We're thankful that didn't happen today. So that makes it an attempted capital murder case in our minds at this point in time.
And Chief, I'm assuming you notified the bridge. Have any vehicle descriptions matched going south?
Yes, we took all those necessary steps, and we've not come up with a suspect vehicle at this point.
How long was the incident from the point of encounter to when he was shot?
I don't have the exact time. It's from contact to shooting report and then everything else. Even through now, it's still an open event right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell us about the responders? There was a CSI unit, and then there were some helicopters at the scene. Could you tell us what kind of a call was sent out when shots fired and officer down was?
Well, it's a shots fired call. I don't think we necessarily broadcasted an officer down situation because in this case the officer was still able to cooperate via radio and tell us information and stuff like that. But he, in essence, this was an officer down incident. So these are the kind of things that happen in our community where everybody rises. As soon as the word got out, everybody was, okay, what can we do? The only reason we didn't get the helicopters up earlier is because of the fog situation. So we're combing the area. Crime scene is making sure that we document the scene itself to the fullest. And then we're combing the area to see if we either find any evidence of the vehicle itself or tracks or anything like that that we can discern from where this particular incident happened outward, according to the information that we know right now. Yes, sir.
Are there any casings from the shooter's vehicle left behind it?
None, sir, at this point, that we know at this point in time. The crime scene is still being processed and it's not completed yet.
Chief, any idea that the officer might have struck the shooter?
We don't know, sir. We know he engaged him, but we don't have any evidence that we know of at this point in time that he did or did not strike either the suspect or his vehicle at this point.
And no possible make or model of the van?
Other than an old style minivan, perhaps a Chrysler, something like that. And we're trying to develop a composite of what it might look like. And if we can get that, we'll get that to you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of your attention. Thank you very much. All right? Thank you. En español? Okay.
Por no, si quiero aquí, pero-
Okay.